In the headlines, Nigerians continue to express varying opinions ahead of planned nationwide protests as traders, warehouse owners fear possible attacks, looting. NEMA says 8 Yobe local government areas at risk of flooding. NAPTIP rescues 75, arrests 115 in Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers State. And on the foreign scene, police uncover 17 human skulls at suspected Ugandan shrine. Good evening and welcome to the news update on Trust Television. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you for joining us, and now the news in detail. The planned nationwide hunger protests scheduled for August 1 to 10, 2024, have continued to draw widespread support due to the severe economic challenges facing the country. High inflation, unemployment, and the removal of subsidies have exacerbated the hardship for many Nigerians, prompting calls for government action to address these issues. Trustee Dorcas Yakubu spoke to some traders and buyers at Utako Market, Abuja, on the upcoming hunger protest as the commencement date draws nearer. The report.
Nigerians across the country are gearing up for a major nationwide protest slated to take place from August 1st to 10th. The protest, primarily fueled by worsening economic conditions, aims to draw government's attention to critical issues such as soaring inflation, unemployment, and the removal of subsidies that have plunged millions into poverty. Less than 48 hours to the protest, often referred to as the hunger protest, traders and buyers are of the opinion that the protest is a necessary step towards bringing an end to the economic crisis bedeviling the country.
We want the protest to go on so that the government will hear us and do something about the high rate of things.
The reason why I wanted to hold is the inflation is too much. That is not how things being done. When you buy things in the market today, tomorrow you go back to the market and the thing will double times 2. At least government will hear the people and make the necessary arrangements, how things will move on, how the government will subsidize some things. At least when commoners come to market, they can be able to buy things. Tomorrow you will go to market and buy things in a normal rate again, not double it or high it more again.
Yes, I'm supporting the protest because our government, they need to do something about this. It's very important because they cannot see it. Even though they are seeing it, but they used to pretend. They pretend that they cannot see it while they are seeing everything that is going on.
I want the protest to hold because if we don't protest, the hardship we are facing won't be made known. People are suffering, especially traders like me that move around to sell. I'll sell perishable items, but I don't really care if they get bad. So long as our views are aired, but hopefully I will get to sell them. People are suffering from where I'm coming from. People have died because of hunger.
While some are clamoring for the actualization of the protest, others like Caesar are afraid the exercise may be hijacked by hoodlums.
If ordinarily the protest will be done the way it should, peacefully, under the arms of the Constitution, then I believe that the Nigerian populace will make their mark or impact or their grievances known to this insensitive government. But then, just like normally, the way these things happens, if not well controlled, it may be hijacked, and when it's hijacked, a lot of innocent people will start suffering unnecessarily.
The upcoming hunger protests reflect the deep-seated frustration and hardship faced by many Nigerians due to the current economic policies. With widespread support from civil society and socio-cultural groups, the protest underscores the urgent need for government intervention to alleviate the suffering of the populace. As the protest date approaches, the government, while acknowledging the public's frustration, has urged protesters to exercise restraint and patience. The situation serves as a stark reminder of the need for effective and compassionate economic policies that prioritize the well-being of all citizens. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Also, Traders and warehouse owners at the Yankwali market in Jos, the Plateau State capital, are expressing worries over possible attacks on the market during the planned nationwide protest in the country. Concerned by the development, the traders have engaged the services of vigilantes, neighborhood watch groups and other local security outfits to protect their shops and business centers in the area. Adomusa completes the report.
Many groups are calling on Nigerians to come out in large number to vent their anger over the rising cost of living and insecurity bedeviling the country. But traders in Jos said they are worried about the protests, explaining that hoodlums may take advantage of the situation to break into their shops and warehouses to loot goods and other valuable items during the exercise.
Actually, there is fear, because even yesterday I couldn't sleep because of the protest. Me and my ESCO, we couldn't sleep. We just have to come to the market and see our security arrangement because we are afraid of Monday, definitely. Though they were talking of 1st August, but we are afraid of Monday, this 28 or 29 today. We are afraid of it. So definitely we have to come and see how we can secure the market. Definitely we are afraid. And with the video clip we have been seeing, somebody on TikTok saying some bad things about Terminus Market and this and Yankwali and the rest. Is making us to fear.
And with our own security personnel moving around since from yesterday, day and night, we have mobilized our security, our neighborhood watch, our internal security in the market. All of them are moving around to make sure the market is safe.
They have talking of protests, but we ESCOs decided we don't want any protests in this market because of some certain unusual things like looting of shop, killing people. Many things will occur. Not to do protests be problem, but we don't want loopholes to avoid inconveniences. Coupled with what Nigeria look like now, we don't want it.
The chairman, however, said the police commissioner has assured them of security deployment at the market during the protest.
Actually, this early morning, we met with Commissioner of Police. The first thing he said that he's going to provide security to all our markets. We told him about the flash points because we have other places that we call them flash points. So he told us that they are going to put their vehicles with armed men at those flash points. He promised us to do that. So definitely, and we hope that between today night, we are going to see some changes by the police.
Police had on Sunday arrested one Suleiman Yakubu, following his call for residents to burn down Yankwali and Terminus markets during the planned nationwide protests in the state. Adomusa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Ahead of the planned nationwide hunger protest slated to commence on Thursday, August 1st, some stakeholders in Kaduna State have unanimously agreed that even though there is hunger, poverty and insecurity in the country, protests may not bring an end to all the vices in the country except dialogue. The stakeholders stated this during a meeting with government officials, labor unions, religious leaders, youth and students groups, as well as security agencies in the state. Trustee Bello Musa has more.
The calls for mass protests by Nigerian youths have been awash on social media platforms and have become a key talking point in the country. However, as the calls intensify, many Nigerians have started expressing fear that the aggressive call for the protest may result to mayhem. This meeting seeks to engage the youths to use dialogue while addressing their grievances. Kaduna State Governor Obasani says the government is doing all it can to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians.
The federal government and state governments have been unrelenting in addressing the nation's developmental and security challenges. The nationwide mobilization for protest is therefore unnecessary, ill-timed, and impactless. In times of economic emergency, All hands are expected to be on deck.
The organized labor and students' union also made their positions known regarding the mass protest.
We are not part of this national protest because we have no any other instruction for our national leadership to do that. One might ask, what are our reasons? Number one, because we are organized, we have an identity. You know where to see us, you know where to find us.
If we allow this protest to hold and Kaduna State join the protest, the Federation will lose over 400 billion daily. And
Political and religious leaders say, considering the volatile nature of Kaduna State and the many crises recorded in the past, which claim lives and properties, it is imperative for the youth to embrace dialogue.
Let us embrace peace as against violence. Violence will never take you to anywhere. So we're appealing to the youth.
What I think we need to do is, one, to engage the youth. Secondly, tell the government to try and alleviate the suffering of the people.
We know that there is poverty. For us as a church, we know that there is hunger. For us as a church, we know that people find it difficult to buy fuel and other things. But we want to say this and say it very clearly, that we say no to protests, not out of cowardice, but from an application of wisdom.
According to the State Commissioner of Police, Ali Dabigi, the command is yet to receive a formal notice of protest from any group.
Since the issue of this protest came about, we have been listening to people, and nobody has come to my office with such an issue.
At the end of the meeting, stakeholders resolved that protest is not the solution as it may lead to violence in the state. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Meanwhile, the federal government has called for calm on the proposed nationwide protest, saying it had created centers across the country where Nigerians can purchase a 50-kilogram bag of rice for 40,000 naira. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, disclosed this while briefing correspondents on the outcome of the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Bola Tinubu at the State House, Abuja, on Monday. According to Idris, the move was part of initiatives by the Tinubu administration to ease living conditions for citizens. He argued that there was no longer a need for the nationwide protest since the president was already attending to the needs of the protest organizers. The minister cited the student loan scheme and the expected disbursement of CNG kits as part of efforts to ease the cost of living. However, he blamed unavoidable logistical impediments for the delay in the rollout of the CNG buses. The National Emergency Management Agency has warned that the 2024 annual flood outlook has identified Yobe as one of the 31 states with high-risk local government areas for flooding. The Director General, NEMA Zubaida Umar, stated this at the inauguration of 2024 Effective Waste Management and Flood Mitigation Sensitization Campaign in Damaturu on Tuesday. Umar, represented by the agency's Deputy Director of Finance and Account, Aminu Rengim, added that Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency forecast that Badde, Jakusko, Yunusari, Gulani, Gaidam, Potiskum, Bosari, and Karasoa were most at risk to flooding. The Northeast Zonal Coordinator, NEMA, Garpa Serajo, called on the public to desist from improper waste disposal practices, particularly emptying waste into drainage channels. Serajo added that clogging of drainage systems due to waste accumulation not only exacerbates the risk of flooding, but also serves as a breeding ground for diseases, putting the well-being of communities at grave risk. On outer security matters, The Nasarawa State Police Command says it has arrested no fewer than 31 suspects for alleged armed robbery and other crimes in the state. State Commissioner of Police Umar Nadada made this known while parading the suspects in Lafia. Trustee Abubakar Abdullahi sent in this report as presented from our studio.
Parading the suspects, the State Police Commissioner Umar Nadada said apart from the armed robbery, the command also arrested other suspects for homicide, motorcycle and car snatching, as well as kidnapping, among others. Nadada said the arrest followed complaints of an attack by gunmen on a truck driver, prompting the police to swiftly respond and arrest 3 of the armed robbers. The police commissioner gave details of the suspects.
Number of suspects arrested for arms dealing, 6. Number of suspects arrested for homicide, 1. Number of armed robbery suspects, 13. Number of firearms recovered, 5. Number of ammunition recovered, 1,008. Number of magazines recovered, 5. Number of recovered rifles, 20. Number of motorcycles recovered, 4. Number of vehicles recovered, 1. Number of bag of rice recovered, 96. Laptops, television, phones recovered, 13. Total number of suspects arrested, 31.
He also explained that a vehicle that diverted rice sent to one of the states in the southeast was also intercepted.
Or called the trampoline and then carted away this number, 96 bags of rice. And they were intercepted when they were running away. One good Samaritan assisted the police with his vehicle.
Nadada said 1,080 ammunition, 5 magazines, 4 motorcycles, a car, 13 television sets, among others, were recovered from the suspects. The CP sought for continuous public cooperation for security agencies in their quest to ensure a crime-free society.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons has apprehended no fewer than 115 suspected human traffickers and rescued 75 victims in Akwa Ibom, Cross River and Rivers States. The Zonal Commander of NAPTIP, Emmanuel Auhen, who disclosed this in an interview in Uyo on Tuesday, added that during the period, NAPTIP charged 15 cases to court and secured 3 convictions, while 12 cases are still pending. The Zonal Commander appealed to judges to give special attention to human trafficking cases to serve as a deterrent to other traffickers. Ahwen said coastal communities in the zone, which comprises Cross River, Akwa Ibom and River States, are endemic areas of human trafficking, noting that several victims have been rescued in the coastal areas. He said the fight against human trafficking should not be left in the hands of NAPTIP and the federal government alone, saying the agency needs the support and cooperation of all stakeholders. Auhen advised parents and guardians not to let their family members deceive them into taking their children and wards in the guise of helping to train or secure employment for them, as most children or wards end up being used for child labor or prostitution. You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Still to come, we'll take a look at alternatives students of tertiary institutions in Benue are resorting to as prices of stationery's paper materials hit rooftop. We'll bring you more news when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying. You're still watching the news update on Trust Television. Let's have another look at some of our top stories. Nigerians continue to express varying opinions ahead of planned nationwide protests as traders, warehouse owners fear possible attacks, looting. NEMA says 8 Yobe local government areas at risk of flooding. The current economic hardships in Nigeria have affected every aspect of life. The institutions of learning that depend heavily on paper and other stationeries are exploring available options, but infrastructural deficiencies are more problems to battle with. Jimmy Azande reports from Makurdi.
The students and staff of higher institutions can hardly function without pen and paper, as well as other stationeries needed in their daily activities. But Tehmba, like most of his mates, is lamenting the cost of goods and services that have affected their access to these academic materials. They now rely mostly on soft materials which are accessible at an affordable cost.
The increase in the cost of printing now has actually made things difficult. I can say I always I print almost on a daily basis because I have my personal writings and then things in the department and other things as well. So, but now that things are really difficult, in fact, I find it very difficult printing as before.
Those in the business of providing these goods and services are also lamenting how the current economic climate has changed the perception of their trade. They are worried that the failure of the government to regulate the prices of goods and services is a risk to Nigeria's economy.
Before we used to buy, about 3 weeks back, we used to buy this at 3,600. It moves from there to 3,800. I will speak currently. The rim of 70 gram, which is the least paper you can get, is going at the rate of 4,400 from retailers. And if you, from wholesalers, if you go to any retail, you may get this at 5,000. That is the situation of our country.
For instance, we do print before a paper where a student will type and bring on his phone. We print at the cost of 13 naira. But because of the increase in paper and the ink and everything, the printing has increased to 15 naira. Some have even gone to the extent of printing at 100 naira. Photocopy, we were doing a photocopy front and back at 20 naira. But now we are doing a front and back at the cost of 15 naira. Some are even doing it at the cost of 17 naira.
An economist and university don at the Benue State University, Joseph Fifa, says institutions are finding it hard to function and that the digital facilities as are today cannot guarantee the substitution of concrete stationaries.
Some people are going digital by becoming paperless. But how many institutions in Nigeria can indeed truly go paperless? When you don't have consistent supply of electricity, which is supposed to be a basis for holding internet, and when you have the network, at what point is it even good? So transmission of materials online, which should be what is the ultimate thing as every other nation in the world goes, is becoming a problem in the country because there's no particular IT infrastructure that is embedded in the system to sustain the process of the use of online materials here and there.
The federal government recently proposed a student loan to aid students in their academic pursuits. It is left to be seen how this educational intervention will change the narrative. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
And now to the Red Chamber of the National Assembly, the senator representing Borno South Senatorial District, Ali Ndume, has rejected a new office allocated to him by the Senate Services Committee. Ndume, in a letter addressed to the chairman, Senate Services Committee on Tuesday and signed by his chief confidential secretary, Yati Shuaibu Gau, said the office given him does not reflect his seniority and high-ranking posture at the Senate. Recall that Ndume was recently stripped of his position as chief whip of the Senate, following his criticisms of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led government, hence the decision to allocate a new office to him. In the letter, Ndume said he rejected the office because offices are traditionally allocated on seniority basis, adding that as the most senior senator after Senator Ahmed Lawan, he will only occupy an office on the 4th floor. We'll take it away from Nigeria now. 17 human skulls buried in metal boxes have been unearthed at a suspected shrine in the center of Uganda. Children foraging for firewood outside Kabanga village near Nkwigi town, about 40 kilometers west of the capital, Kampala, made the grisly discovery on Monday, according to local media. Police said residents told officers there were metallic boxes containing what appeared to be skulls buried in a shrine. The regional police spokesman, Majid Karim, added that The remains were being examined to determine their age and sex, as well as when they may have been buried. He urged the public to remain calm, saying some residents had been left in shock. It is not clear how the skulls ended up at the site, but local media reported residents saying that people had previously gathered at the location to worship. Police said the suspected owner of the site is on the run, having been linked to a separate case involving the murder of a prominent traditional Baganda leader, entrepreneur Daniel Bosa. Finally, in sports, the Lincoln Mutasa-led Zimbabwe Football Association Normalization Committee has appointed Michael Nies as the new coach of the Super Eagles' opponent, Warriors. The 57-year-old German is the first substantive Warriors coach since Firebrand Kroot. The 57-year-old German will lead the Warriors in their quest for success in the AFCON 2025 and FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Ziffa is confident that Michael Nies' appointment will usher in a new era of success for the Warriors, adding that his vast experience combined with his innovative coaching style makes him the ideal candidate to lead the national team to new heights. And with that, we've come to the end of the news update at this hour on Trust Television. Do not forget, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for your time. Join us again.